Hi, and we're
Hi,
live.
we're live.
I know, like an hour later.
Well, it's a chatty Gemini energy. Although
Is that
tonight,
what that
tonight
was?
we're let's see, that's Monday. So tonight we're in an Aries moon. So that's
In
fire.
Aries?
That's pretty
Oh,
active.
spicy and hot, and
Yeah, yeah.
okay. So before we jump into this particular, um, I
New
guess moon energy, I would like to go ahead and clear our space and energy by ringing the meditation singing bowl, and then we can get started.
that sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Hey JK, happy new moon to you. You know who we haven't seen in a while is Chewbacca.
Yeah, I wonder where she's at.
Shabaka, if you look at this later, I hope you're well. I think about you often and hope you're in a good space in life.
Yeah, I hope that she's actually okay, you
Yeah,
know.
I know she was moving some, and yeah,
Um there's one thing I would like to do and I will be right back, okay? So,
sure,
I'll be right
sure.
back.
We're not really in the full moon until Monday night in Gemini. Gemini is such a chatty energy, it's can be very fickle, very intellectual energy. Air mutable sign ruled by Mercury. And with the new moon, which is Monday night, and in your neck of the woods, it's at 8 o'clock at night. And in my neck of the woods, it's 11 o'clock at night. So in Gemini, it's air mutable ruled by Mercury, and the planet Mercury is also conjunct the new moon. So that sort of gives it extra oomph for all the things that Gemini and Mercury represent, which are siblings and communications and networking and mentality, very lot of thinking, a lot of uh, busy
Chatter.
mind. Yes, busy mind. Siblings, it rules the third house, which generally represents our early childhood and family life, early in life. Um, so the symbol of the twins there is like a seeking or searching kind of feel, like it's about the one twin always searching for the lost twin. There's sort of that cyclical energy of curiosity and seeking, seeking, seeking. Highly intellectual. Geminis always need intellectual stimulation. They really are usually jack of all trade types of people, and um, very likable, very able to, like, you've heard that saying, like someone who can talk to strangers and make them feel like they've known them forever. It's
Hmm.
very kind of comforting um, energy, friendly, very friendly.
Mhm.
There's an out of sign conjunction with Uranus with this new moon, and that just means it's like so Uranus is at 27 degrees of Taurus. The Mercury is at 2 degrees Gemini, so that's a 5 degree orb for a Mercury Uranus conjunction. And that is very like expect the unexpected. You can even physically find that you might feel shaky.
Hmm.
You know, when we were talking about the heat and feeling dehydrated, sometimes you can feel shaky when you feel dehydrated. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, sometimes with Uranus transits like that, you know, that's electricity. So your body is electromagnetic field. So um, just keep in mind that, you know, depending on how sensitive you are, you're responding to your environment. You know, Mercury is a personal planet. It's very close in proximity to the Earth. So we're responding more so to these, you know, the moon and Mercury closer planets. And so you might like feel like really swift changes of direction on projects or plans. Gemini does represent short trips. Um, there could be like an overload of very confusing information. Uranus is computers and the computer highway, so you might experience some um, you know, with all this AI stuff, the computers just go whack, don't they? I mean, they just seem to take over. I was simply trying to write my article about this new moon and this Copilot 360, it just takes over. You know,
Oh, it took over your.
it's like trying to get rid of it. I've never, to my knowledge, updated to it. I still on 10 and have not updated to 11. And
Hmm.
um, I don't know. It's just too smart. It just, I don't know. I, I don't know about all of that. So, but we might hear more about it. You
So
know,
you think
all,
that we're all feeding the master brain,
yes,
the supercomputer
yes, in the
quantum?
sky. Yes, the
Yeah.
mothership. And you may feel more nervous than usual. I mean, this is a kind of a nerve wracking kind of energy. There's some very significant other transits going on. Um, the Pluto and the moon are in a trine, I believe. And so um, that makes it easier for like physical manifestations. So, you know,
Mm.
new moons are typically, you know, set your intentions for new projects, um, new goals, you know, something you want to change. It might even like reignite old projects that were forgotten and like bring a new vitality or expression to your creativity. There
Mhm.
is a trine, which trines are like gifts from the universe. They make energy very easy. And we have a trine between Mars and Venus. So, you know, that supports relationships between men and women, as well as inner balance between our own masculine and feminine parts of ourselves. If you don't have like a physical outside relationship, it's very it's a very balanced kind of energy. I like that a lot. And that's also, you know, Mars Venus trine is appreciation for, you know, beauty and sensuality. It is this combination is good for financial investments um, and in general projects just having sort of a natural ease to them, like you're not like swimming against the current, like some of the aspects we've been weathering of late. And so of all the aspects, the one that um, there's two that are really weird. Saturn square Jupiter. So Saturn is restriction and Jupiter wants freedom. So that's sort of a opposite of energies, and how it
Mhm.
might manifest in your life is um, attention brought to your boundaries, you know, your self boundaries. Um, Saturn is mature, it is father time. So, um, how this sort of was landing on my brain is Saturn makes us take responsibility, which is the ability to respond. And Jupiter gives us sort of an expansive spiritual quest kind of feeling. Our spirit wants to be free. We want to seek different cultures and religions and um, um, things around foreign people and places. It could mean foreign people in your path here. It doesn't necessarily mean you going somewhere foreign, but it does bring in that nature of different cultures.
Mm.
Um, there's also Jupiter square Saturn can make you feel really aggravated. That's an aggravating feeling because Jupiter, wants you to be able to express and expand and travel and be free. And Saturn is like very restrictive. It's like be responsible, plan accordingly. You know what I mean? It kind of nips
It's
that.
like a push and pull. It's like having like a
Yes.
child and a parent.
Yes.
And
Yes. That's a
the
good way to
child
put
wants
it.
to like play, and the parent like, no, well, before you can play, you gotta do
Clean
X,
the
Y, and
room up.
Z.
And yeah. Before you can travel, you have to, put your money, get your money
You need
straight.
your what's that real ID?
Oh God, that thing. That's that whole Big Brother thing that just really sets me off. I have some friends that aren't getting it. They've just decided they're not going to be traveling. They're not going to get it. They're not going to do it. I did it by default. It was years ago where I was working. They had the local motor vehicles was doing these remote visits, and
Mm.
so they came into our office, and you handled it through that. So that was
Yeah,
like
I think it was very easy when, there isn't that big of a line. It's just like a matter of going in and doing it.
and having
There's
the
nothing.
paperwork. Yeah,
Yeah, it's no big deal, because actually I just asked, for my sons, one of them only has, like, one of them has a driver's license that doesn't drive, and then the other one is just an ID card. And so they told me, well, just as long as you have like a bill in their name, and then two forms of identification, then that's it.
yeah,
And then you can pay a little bit extra if you want the border passport included.
right,
Um, if not, you can just pay just the basic.
right.
Oh, okay. And so I just got tipped off by a local lady, and she saw that I was a donor. And she's like, "Oh no, honey, don't do that." I was like, "Why?" She's like, "Well, if you're out there and you're barely surviving, they may just like take you in because you're a donor."
And they're going to
And
harvest those organs.
that's what she said. She's like, "You're in the wrong state for that." I was like, "Okay, well, how can I change this?" So it was just really interesting,
Yeah.
because there's just a lot of that. But anyways, I don't want it to go morbid. But go ahead, carry on.
No, that's interesting. It makes me think of that forensic dark side of Scorpio, talking about
Hmm.
dying and organ harvesting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, I think Saturn, Jupiter, it's an opportunity to really get down to the bone of a matter. Like that push me, pull me, wanting to be free, needing to be mature and grown up and responsible. Those the dichotomy of that energy is really the opportunity to rethink your timeline in your life for plans or goals. Saturn is father time, so it makes us really aware of where we are in life, our age, the whole aging process. It rules the skeleton, so, and bones, so, depending on those transits, you could feel arthritic during that kind of transit. You could have teeth problems. Teeth are the bones, and Saturn under a square. Squares are pressure. Those aren't easy energies, but it's
Mhm.
usually the pressure we put on ourselves more so than like an outside third party, like an opposition.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, the whole P word, patience. So, Jupiter square Saturn is about being patient with yourself and others. And under that energy, it might be a little more challenging to be patient with yourself and
Mhm.
others. So that's part of that push me and pull me. And Gemini in general, and the trines that we spoke of a minute ago between Pluto and Mars and Venus in this new moon, um, you know, that helps to make adjustments, depending on how rigid you are in your life and plans. And, I know you've met people, it's like they've got it all planned out, you know, they have their life all planned out. And then there's others of us, like myself, where we're winging it, you know, we kind of just
Yeah,
take
me
it as it
included.
comes, you know. I can honestly say I've never planned out much in my life. I've always tried to be,
In the moment.
spontaneous and in the moment. Yes, yes. And some has worked for me, some has not. But that
Mhm.
is sort of the nature of Saturn, Pluto, and an opportunity to learn how to be adaptable. Because the best laid plans don't always work, and the more flexible or adaptable you can be during this whole year of the transits and the way planets are changing signs and sort of some historic cycles that repeat themselves. Um, it's good to be flexible. It's good to be able to, you know, um, there's a saying I'm trying to remember, pivot, pivot.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, the this is a good energy for a more rigid type energy to have a better time pivoting. Um,
So if you have a hard time of change or being
right.
adaptable, then this might be difficult for those individuals.
I love this. JK says, "Are you ladies AI generated? It's hard to know right now. Very important to be the observer and be a critical thinker to know truth." I love that. I'm not AI generated. Are you?
No. But you know what? I had a dream this morning. It happened this morning. So I don't remember the full context of the dream. All I remember, it had something to do with me and my son. And I had to go to like this care center. They were taking they're watching him. And I went to go get my son, but I felt like that wasn't my son. It was a clone. And I passed by the real version of my son as I was going through the door to pick up what I thought would be my son. But I had a feeling, I guess it was like an instinct, like this is not him. And so by the time I turned around to go, approach the gentleman, because the gentleman had already left, because I already connected with what I thought would be my son. He had already left with the real version of my son. And I
Wow.
was like, "What the heck?" I was like, I have not watched any sci-fi. I haven't even, like, touched on the subject lately or recently. Why on earth do I have a dream about cloning children, to replace them with the real thing? So, are they taking, like, the kids for themselves, and for what reason? You know, and
Interesting.
and giving me, like, a stand-in.
I
Like,
love it. That's so interesting because the next square I was going to talk about, or not square, but conjunction during this period is the Saturn holding hands with Neptune.
So
So
what does
that's
that mean?
that's another, like where Saturn has defined boundaries, defined authorities, a structure, and Neptune is illusion. And
Mm.
so it's all about navigating what is reality. And that's such a deep philosophical bucket to go down because, what we might think is reality. It's like the Truman Show. Remember that Jim Carrey movie where, he was really like in a movie for his life and it was all a stage and he didn't know it until the end. And I mean, it's that what we think is reality, is it really? I mean, I think this energy kind of makes us look at things a lot of different perspectives
It
and
was definitely like I guess a parallel universe where it felt
yes.
real. Like, I was devastated. Like, how could they like clone? Or like, are they cloning humans now? Like, I mean, we've talked about the concept before, but like, is it like
Well,
more
one of the
refined?
quantum physics kind of projections for humankind is that we will um, be more humanoid. Like they will use AI to cure diseases and put computer parts inside of us to fix things. So I think that that's all part of Pluto in Aquarius and the Uranus transits. Um, so where is my Uranus is going to move into Gemini July the 8th. So, and also with this full moon, we have Saturn changing signs into Aries. And so we have so much really significant energetic changes. I just think that it's kind of a wild ride, and especially when it comes to things ethereal or metaphysical. Neptune's domain of the dreams and time travel, and JK mentions remote viewing here, and all of those sort of paranormal types of categories. So, you're mentioning, JK's mentioning conspiracy theory, and it's true. What is a conspiracy theory? Is it the truth? Is that the reality? Is there,
Well, that's what I questioned in my dream this morning when I woke up, and it was so vivid. I wanted to write it down because it was like I can explain exactly what happened and how
yes, and it
everything.
stuck with you for you to be able to sit here and talk
Yeah.
about it
But
in detail,
now it's like I know like the basic story, but like I couldn't regurgitate the whole
all
thing.
of it. Yeah, but it's
Mhm.
still impactful when you remember it.
Oh yeah,
I
because I found it like really troubling that they're cloning kids.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. I'm sure they've been. Yeah, there's a whole. Um, I'm not sure what country or where about. You know, it comes out of basically like mad scientists crossbreeding animals with humans. You know, and so where that used to be like a sci-fi movie, there's really some element of truth, but that you would call me a conspiracy theorist to say this, right? And I'm
Mm.
just not so sure that as we get further into this new age, if conspiracy theorists won't actually be the reality, that we've been deluded under a lot of different um, manipulations of, cover
Well, I
ups
think
and
it's like the whole like whoever is the strongest or the most knowledgeable, they have like some understanding of manipulation in the this 3D paradigm. And I think it's mostly through visual interpretations, things that we see, things that we hear. more on the repetitive level, and then plus the stuff that they put out there, you know what I mean?
And being
Control.
really open. I mean, I think for those of us that have been in metaphysics, I mean, it's easier to be open minded about um, whether something's a conspiracy or not. I love conspiracy theories. I think they're a wonderful contemplation, and I'm not so sure some of them aren't true. And I do think that we're in a period of history where, just like as they declassify historic documents, finding out what really happened, and I think for some people it might be really shocking and I almost feel like it's being dribbled out because there's a certain segment of society that would never ever accept that the government would be anything but supportive of the masses. And I'm one of those people that questions it's all about power and money. It's
Well, they do this thing. It's called SEER. Have you heard of that
yes,
program?
yeah,
Yeah, so they do like this whole manipulation thing, like for like a period of week of 1 or 2 weeks, and they have like these intercoms, and they deprive the soldiers of water, and they'll literally like brain f them and say
right,
water, water,
right.
water, and then they're like fucking shit, like shut the fuck up, I need fucking water, you know.
It's really diabolical when you think about some of the scientific experiments that have been run on human beings.
Hmm.
Um, so Saturn holding hands with Neptune is about major transformation and paying attention to your dreams and having sort of a heightened sense of intuition. Like,
Hmm.
they one of the things about I've heard about dream interpretation is whatever's going on in your dream is a reflection of what's going on within yourself. And a very common dream is to like be a building, like you're in a building and you have all these different compartments, and that's all these different parts of yourself trying to assimilate or navigate something in your conscious mind.
Hmm.
um, I think the hardest thing is the whole bit about what is reality, because what the narrative is that the powers that be would feed us as what the reality is, and then we self-doubt our intuition. Like intuitively we might hear something from an authority and think, no, that doesn't sound right, that doesn't feel right.
Hmm.
And so this energy is about trusting that gut instinct and not trusting that authority that they're telling you the reality. Like
Hmm.
reality is what comes from your inner knowingness, even if it doesn't jive with everybody else, or, and I think this is a grand opportunity to just, you know, be more open minded and more attuned to our intuitive sort of inklings. Like if you hear something about water, or a recall, or some medicine or something, and they're trying to tell you how great something is, and your gut is going, oh, that doesn't feel right. This energy is more about what you're feeling, not what you're necessarily processing from, an outside source trying to feed you information. This is more
Hmm.
about, you know, all this information around us being assimilated and using our gut instinct, to determine what feels right to us.
Hmm.
So the Saturn Neptune conjunction happens every 36 years. Of course, it's not the same sign every 36 years, but so this will be with us all year. It perfects in the spring of next year. But if you think about what was going on in your life between 1989 and 1990, it might give you some insight of what you can anticipate for this a Saturn Neptune conjunction over the next year. So I'm going to throw out there, when you talk about major transformation, 1989 is when I, divorced and started my own business, and, had some pretty major transformations with my family life. So, when I think about now, how could that be similar? Well, I'm not married and my parents are deceased, so it's not going to be those exact setup, but it was a major transformation, um, starting my own business. And I've never let go of that desire to want to be my own business again. I don't play around
Mhm.
with others in the sandbox. you know, and what I used to do for a living, that job is no longer, that job has been taken over by the internet, right? So there's not the need for
Mhm.
that particular set of tasks that I used to do. So
Mhm.
finding, where do we evolve in our skill set for with AI, or, you know, more robotic kinds of tasks, or retraining. I've tried to brainstorm like retraining with whatever my experience or background is, and how to apply it to environments to utilize AI.
Mhm.
That's, I think, kind of the future of the job market is AI. And where does your skill set fit in? um, let's see, JK is doing something here. So I also have Saturn in the 12th house at 0 degrees Neptune. What is a delusion? Maybe what we believe to be true is actually a delusion. And that's so true. And that's what's so interesting about these energies is, um, we all know people that sit in front of the television day in and day out and believe every single thing they're told. They would never question the integrity of that information. Um, and that's, I think, the group of people that's going to have a harder time with this energy, because I think that part of the Saturn Jupiter square, Jupiter wants the truth. That seeking and that spiritual journey that Jupiter does is to find the truth, to find, you know, what is, what does make the universe tick, or what does, our essence in this dimensional kind of existence, really mean. Long journeys represented by Jupiter can be in the subconscious mind. They don't have to be our physical body taking long journeys. Jupiter is a very spiritual energy. It's a very, you know, seeking spirituality, taking sabbaticals, you know, and I feel like that is our best defense for all of these kind of cagey, unstable energies, is that we're getting really solid within ourselves, and knowing ourselves well, that we trust our gut instincts. Like, it's only natural that if you have an intuition that goes against the grain with everybody around you, a lot of times it's easy to like self-doubt, like, oh yeah, you're probably right, or whatever. And this is an energy where you stay solid in your intuition and influence those that are not yet awake.
Mhm.
So, and that has a lot to do with the whole Pluto in Aquarius transit for the next 20 years, is people awakening spiritually to understanding that realities that we've all been taught and believed in. I think a big area is going to be history, the stories in history that we were brought up believing are an illusion. I don't think a lot of that's true. I think it's been a huge manipulation of society as a whole to be basically debt slaves. So I'm excited about it, but I do think it's a cagey kind of energy. And, you know, whatever that inclination is for a human or a human nature to look out for information, this is really to teach us to trust our own intuition. And, you know, any of us that do readings or help others or teach in any way, it's about teaching others to look inside themselves for the answers. The answers are not out of ourself; they're right here. And you know, sometimes that might take time quiet, or you know, time unplugged from things to get that realignment. Um, it's easy to get sort of pulled into other people's lanes that we don't really need to be in. That's about the boundaries, right? Saturn is big about boundaries. And so, you know, one of the most powerful words in the English language is no. And I
Hmm.
think we all have friends that overextend themselves and feel like they have to be everybody's healer and they have to be everybody's um, you know, answer or caregiver or whatever. And, you know, part of feeling solid within ourself is knowing our boundaries and monitoring our own energy levels so we're not spread thin, and that we can set our boundaries, that if too much is being asked of us, we know how to say no. I, this is a really simplistic example, but it's very powerful, and I'm glad it gets easier the more you practice it. But so this week, one of my dear neighbors, um, her sister visits a couple of times a year from Louisville, Kentucky, and um, they have like a set pattern of activities. You know, they like to go to the beach, there's certain restaurants, there's certain shops, there's old friends. And when her name is Claudia, when she comes through the area, you know, she'll go out to the beach and stay a few days. She'll visit people in Williamsburg and stay a few days. You know, she just kind of plots out a couple of weeks that she's traveled. And so when she comes to this area where her sister is, you know, her sister is 80, 82. And so I got involved with joining them by being the driver because my friend doesn't always like to drive some of these long, you know, places longer to get to. So over the years, in her last few visits, you know, I'll join them for dinner or whatever. And so this is, I don't mean to be long winded about this. I'm sorry. I'm not communicating very clearly. But so, like, you know, every night, Claudia has her schedule of who she's going to go see, where they're going to eat. It's just very methodical. And so she leaves tomorrow. So she's done all of her shopping and visiting. And um, last night, there's this little diner that she wanted to go to. And I met them out there. And we had, you know, just a simple dinner and, you know, talking. And tonight is the last night she'll be here. So as we were going our separate ways last night, she was like, "Now, what are you going to do tomorrow night? And it's my last night here. And you know, where do you suggest we go to eat and everything?" So, you know, I'm off from work today. I've kind of got in my head what I want to do in the yard, and it's a cool day to get heavy yard work done. And so this morning I'm like, I don't really want to go to dinner again. You know, I've got food here. I don't. Once you get out in the yard dirty, and if y'all could see my pants I have on, I mean, I've been in the yard all day. I'm a sweaty mess. And so, you know, the thought of, you know, stopping your projects and getting washed up to
Like dressed
there,
up to go to
and to get like, you know, subpar food, that you pay for. The
subpar.
I got, I've got what I need here. So my point is, I didn't want to agonize about it all day.
Yeah, you can just say no.
Right. I called her and I said, I had a lovely time last night, but y'all go to dinner without me. I really just need to get some things done here. And, I can remember years ago having anxiety about telling a friend no, and
Mhm.
it's like anymore, it kind of feels like if you're having that angst about what to tell somebody or what plan you want to have, and if it's something you really don't want to do, just being very transparent and open. And I think that's a very Jupiter kind of energy too, is the transparency, that you
Mm,
can say to a friend, no thank you, and that should just be respected. You don't have to make excuses, you
explain.
don't have to explain, and it really feels good to be able to do that. And she was fine. She's like, I understand, and because by this end of the 2 weeks of her tour here or whatever, I mean, she's just like gone and gone and gone. It's just nonstop. And so, you know, um, I think that's part of this Saturn energy that we'll all be navigating. And that has a lot to do with our boundaries. And some of the hardest boundaries are with the people closest to us, family and friends. And my boss, correcting my boss for, speaking in a way I didn't think was appropriate. And it just rolled out like, maybe that's my accent. He was trying to tell me to pronounce something differently. And it's like, yeah, you're my boss, but that doesn't give you the right to, be arrogant or condescending about my accent or whatever. And
Mhm.
so that's Saturn. It gives you the opportunity to have your structure, have your boundaries, and not waver. Do you get really frustrated? I find myself, I get frustrated with people when they agonize over just that. Like, well, I don't really want to hurt their feelings. I don't, I don't want to blah, blah, blah. And you're like, life is short. You know, don't waste time doing things you don't want to do. My father had this saying about funerals. And, funerals for a lot of people are like a social event.
Mm.
It's like the community and
Plus, you see people you haven't seen in ages.
yeah, and it's like I hate funerals. And I remember when my dad was still around and somebody as a close family member had died, and I was sort of agonizing over whether or not I should go. I didn't really want to go. And my dad, and I've always remembered this, and I've stuck by it, and I've probably pissed some people off by not going to certain funerals, but he said, um, the only funerals that you have to go to are immediate family. So if they're not immediate blood family, you don't have to go. And
Mm.
ever since he told me that, I don't. I don't go. That social part of it bothers me. But that might be like that whole thing about fascination with death, and you know, um, it's something about. And here's that Jupiterian thing: cultures. Different cultures in different regions see these different rituals and celebrations all differently. And so
Mhm.
I think we're in a time where we get clarity on, what are our cultural and ritualistic types of practices, and owning them, and not being ashamed or afraid that they don't go along with somebody else, or um, and that can be challenging sometimes, especially if you're the minority, especially if your perspective is the, minority perspective.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so anyway, I just think it's I think it's an interesting time, and uh, I feel like transparency and boundaries are like big adjectives for what we're in.
Yeah, I've been hoping for that forever.
Yeah, get rid
Yeah.
of the bullshit, right? You know,
Mhm.
yeah,
I'm all for it. It's just
it's being
for
patient with you know the rest of the world, or
you mean other people's personality.
and two, like authorities, like authoritative kind of industries that try to you know tell you what you should believe or think about. So Neptune is big about pharmaceutical. It rules pharmaceutical companies and
Mhm.
pharmaceutical drugs, right?
Mhm.
And so, I really like to see more transparency with this cycle of madness in our society with drugs and pharmaceuticals and politics and lobbying groups, and that whole sort of tornado or storm of money and power that really doesn't have anything to do with what's best for every individual. It's I'm anxious to see it. Neptune also rules oil, so being on the lookout for news and events surrounding the oil industry. So these are the big money makers: pharmaceuticals, oil. Uranus is still in Taurus, which is the banking and finance system. Well, let's see. So you bring up a good point. JK is talking about. I guess you're mentioning about having your own business. It is hard to take vacation when you have your own business, but it can be done. If you make a lot of money, you have to make enough money to do the vacation and have money when you come back from the vacation.
Mhm.
So when you work that hard to get all of it lined up, that means um, you need the vacation to get over being prepared or preparing for the vacation.
Well, I did that. The last time when I was on holiday, I worked my ass off to
Right.
have the vacation, but luckily it was a really good vacation. It was
Yeah.
worth every penny, and
We need to do something for our soul. That's another
mhm.
part of this energy and the lesson, I think.
There was a I don't know if I told you this, but there was a gentleman who is in the UK, and he's actually here in the United States, and basically he teaches RSR or SRT, which is like a spirit release therapy.
Yeah.
And so, like, he is over here in Arizona. He's talking about how great this place is and the energy
Right.
vortexes and all this and that. And I'm like, man, his sense of reality is so different than mine. Because when I think of this place, I think of it as a sand trap and it's hot and it's like
Expensive.
everything else, but I know that he's coming here on travel. So when you're traveling to a place temporarily, it just seems like a wonderful place to be.
Yeah,
But if
you're out
you're
of your
living in it, it's a whole different energy and vibe. It's
right.
like
And that does
so
teach us something about our own mentality and mindset too. So
mhm.
the whole thing about do what you love and the money will follow, your work really, the ultimate goal is to feel like you're on vacation when you're working, that you
Mhm.
love your work and that it's not like you feel like you need to get away from it.
Mhm.
So That might be part of the contemplation of what your timeline and goals are with this lunation. And
Well, like that was the next thing I wanted to ask. Like right now we have a Gemini. I think it's a new moon, right?
it's on
Um,
Monday, yes, Monday night.
yeah. So after this, then what's to follow? Like what is
So
because I know that.
then we have on June 13th a which I wanted to talk to you about that because that's the day I'm driving back from the beach, which I think, well, I take that back. So the full moon is in Sagittarius on June 11th. That's a Wednesday. And so I'm going to be at the beach that week, but I'm driving back on Friday, the 13th. So I think I'll be fine for having our get together on that evening. I mean, I'm driving
I
back.
mean, you're driving in, so you might be like tired.
Well, I have to check out early. So it's like
Hmm.
5 hours. So it's 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
So,
you might need a break when you come home from all that drive.
well,
Um,
I'm
well,
open if you are. We can play it by ear if you want.
yeah,
Um,
I mean, when you come back or when you're driving, you contact me and you tell
yeah,
me how you're feeling.
yeah. But you were asking what was next. It's a full moon in Sag on June
Hmm.
11th. Let's see, what else do we have going on here in the next couple of days, next couple of weeks? Anything really significant? So Venus has has been in Aries and is still in Aries until June 4th. Venus will go into Taurus, and that's a really sensual. Venus really likes being in Taurus. It rules Taurus.
Hmm.
So that's let me look at a different book here. So Venus into Taurus on June 7th. And let's see, that's till like 4th of July weekend. And that's when we're getting into Mercury retrograde. So we have a while for that. Let's see. Mercury goes into Cancer that first part of June. I'm looking for any other sign changes. So the major outer planet sign changes, we've been through a couple of them. So we know we've already had Pluto go into Aquarius. And at the end of March, Neptune went into Aries. Uh, Monday the 26th, isn't the Monday the 26th is when Saturn goes into Aries. So on the new moon on Monday, May 26th, we have the new moon in Gemini and the planet Saturn going into Aries as well. Then July 8th, we have Uranus changing signs. It's been in Taurus a long time and it's going to be going into Gemini. Before that, I'm sorry, I got them out of order, but June 10th, Jupiter goes into Cancer. And so Jupiter has been in Gemini for quite a while. So, that brings a lot of, uh, there's just no rest for the weary. When you have all the major outer planets changing signs and, the conjunction of Neptune, Saturn, that's a pretty big deal. And that is an energy that we will have with us for like a year. And
Sounds like fun.
It's a major transformation. Yeah, I mean it, and I feel like as you let's see, JK, Friday the 13th, really? You know, I have a Friday the 13th story. Swear to God. In my teens, for 3 years straight, I was in a car accident on Friday the 13th.
Oh gosh, don't say that. Oh, you're driving back home.
Okay, I was never the driver, but I was always the passenger in a car. No one ever got hurt. It was never anything major, but it really started giving me kind of a stigma. And
Uh-huh.
I decided a really long time ago I could not live paranoid about a date. And I just started thinking that 13th must be my lucky number because if I was in all these car accidents and came out without a scrape, that was very lucky.
Mm.
And so now I see 13 is like a lucky number to me. And Friday the 13th, you know, I just think it's a lucky time. I sort of
Okay.
try to flip it on its myth or whatever. Weren't those horror movies at Halloween awful? You sit there and they're so campy now to watch them. The old Michael and the hockey
Well,
mask.
back in the day, that was scary shit,
It was really scary, and you'd be sitting there going, "Don't go in the dark basement," and people they always like are walking into like turn on the light. Why are they walking in the dark room?
Oh shit.
Yeah, kind of crazy. And so here's something interesting we'll watch about Weinstein. What's his first? Harvey Weinstein, the Hollywood producer and filmmaker, right? He's
Mm.
sitting in jail for um, supposedly rape and sexual harassment of all these famous actresses. And
Mm.
so, Hollywood has really, I don't know if it started with the um, Pluto Saturn conjunction right before COVID, but Hollywood has not been the boom buster we've always seen it as. It's really struggled financially and all of this stuff that's come out about.
That's why they're trying to burn it down and rebuild it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I guess it makes me think about with AI and electronics, like movies just don't get made the way, before. So much of the electronics were part of it. Like things are done on was it CGI on the green screen, and um, I don't know. There's a quality to movies that just doesn't seem to be the same as like those old scary movies or
Well, that was because it had to be played out. There was no like manipulation, digital manipulation capabilities back then. Nowadays, you can just put on like a mocap suit
yeah,
and it records like your
everything.
facial structure, like your muscle, your finger movements,
Yeah,
everything, and it just records all these movements, and they'll take it and then put that on top of like some like
trans.
animated like version of the thing,
Yeah,
and it'll capture like that vibe. So there's a lot like mocap technology has been around for over a decade or so.
yeah.
But now, like with AI, it's a little bit better, obviously, than it was before.
And I
Uh,
did see something. I think it was JK in the chat earlier about you know Do you find yourself when you're seeing images online, like if it really is a person or AI, like
Oh yeah, like I still can tell the difference between a fake and a real,
they're too
but
perfect? Isn't it that they're just too perfect? They're just too
mhm,
perfect.
mhm. That's how you know. It's
Yeah.
like maybe they have like that skin, the gloss, or
And sort of a synthetic.
no, it's too symmetrical in
Yes.
proportion or what everything is. So yeah.
It's really weird. It's really weird.
Mhm. Mhm. Now some people they like belittle the use of AI. Like, they have like those baby AI simulators or generators, and you can
Yeah.
turn yourself into like a baby or something. And then like if you have like a huge following, a lot of times people they kind of mock the use of the AI. It's kind of like using a filter,
Yeah.
like, oh really? Like,
Yes.
are we going there? We're using like not only like filters but AI versions of yourself. And so
Yes.
like people aren't stupid. Like everybody is familiar with the use of AI or something similar, to where they're getting some kind of augmented reality situation. So yeah.
Well, let's pull some cards.
Okay.
So I pulled out the Q cards because they're kind of fickle and quirky like Gemini.
And I have Amira's love oracle.
All right. You just made me think of the OJ's, that song, Love Train. Love Train. Get on the love train. Love Train. Get on board. Get on board the love train.
So let's see here. Oh, here it is. I'm like, where? I'm lost. Okay, here we are, Aries.
But then you were found.
Yeah.
All right. Watch your back, Aries.
What is that? A fly?
Fly swatter. My light is kind of wonky, isn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. Watch your back.
Watch your back.
Hmm. And I have spiritual growth.
Oh,
Hmm.
so we have Saturn, Neptune, and Venus in Aries right now. So watch your back. I'm thinking, be extra careful of any kind of illusion or delusional thoughts with that Neptune Saturn conjunction. Pay attention
Yeah.
to dreams, spiritual growth, maybe spiritual revelations through the dreams, Aries.
Mm-hmm. So like what I'm feeling is that, if Aries watches like, what's going on behind them, um, it's like learning to follow their gut or their sense of intuition. You can see that this person is in this meditative posture, and there is like this growth that is actually happening behind them. Um, and so it's almost like, learning to trust, the feelings. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah,
If they can just sit and be still and listen and watch, what's going on in their environment, then they don't have to turn around to see what's going on. They can intuit
that's
the
kind of
same.
hard for Aries because they
Yeah.
have a tendency to pipe off or be a
Yeah, they're
little,
like, no, I don't have the time to like sit
yeah,
around and like, no.
like
Yes, Aries, you're
blink
gonna have
before
to.
they think. I agree with you, Linda. They should require a disclaimer with all that AI stuff.
Well, I think they hired someone, like the government has hired like a AI specialist to kind of oversee. And I think it's some guy who has been running the AI operations. but now that he has a legit role, from what
Well,
I
that
heard.
sounds all nice and reliable.
I know, right? It's like they were already like working on clones and simulations and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. Nothing new. Well, we're just
We're
creating a
just
role.
finding out about it.
Uh, all right. So
Okay. Taurus, success, fame, and status.
okay, and I see here short term. Hmm.
Hmm.
So whatever that Taurus may be going through, it could be short lived. So, I think you were saying something about Venus and Taurus, like in the coming week or so. Maybe
Yes.
is that going to be a short thing?
It lasts for a little, let's see, from June 4th to like July 7th. So a little over a month.
Okay, that's short.
This reminds me of the 15 minutes of fame thing.
Like the flashing lights,
Yeah.
and then there's heartbreak. So I would say for Taurus, just be careful. Don't jump into like anything that you think might be like a long term thing. Just kind of pace yourself. You know.
Yeah.
So next we have Gemini.
Gemini and a Gemini new moon. I have cut ties.
Hmm. Oh, and I have a beauty queen.
Oh,
Yeah, the first thing I was thinking, I was like, what is to cut her hair? Because it's mighty long. Like,
oh, I was thinking of a friendship that maybe,
yeah, one of them is like a like glam girl and
right,
cut ties with a person who is like fake.
right. And, new moons are endings and beginnings.
Hmm. Yeah,
I
I just
like it.
imagining the haircut though. Cut
Yeah.
ties. Come here, bitch. Let me cut your hair. Oh no, not my hair. I'm like, oh okay.
Women can be vicious to each other. It's really unfortunate that women are not more.
Yeah, so Gemini, like if you have like a glamour friend, that might be the one that you may need to cut ties with. Just saying.
Beauty queen. That would be a narcissist, right?
Yeah, the narcissist.
Cut ties with the narcissist for your new moon, Gemini.
Yeah, if you can handle it.
Yes, that too, Linda. Cut ties with toxic karmics.
Yes. Yeah, that's what we mean.
That's what it's for. That's what the new moon is for.
Yeah, Cancer has something here. It's kind of positive.
This is tough it out.
True love, tough love.
Wow.
Mm.
That is true love when you can be that
Mhm.
direct.
Yeah, it's difficult, but this is a true love connection. So maybe Cancer is going through some sort of like pain, suffering, hurt, or some, it may not be even that bad, but if it's rough, in the moment, just tough it out because it is true love. Yeah. Huh?
Tough it out. Yeah. So that's Cancer. That might be, yeah, I don't know.
You're like, you don't know.
Cancer is sometimes their own worst enemy.
Mhm. Mhm. They can be at their own detriment.
Yes. So Leo, we still have Mars in Leo these days. It doesn't change sign until mid June.
I have family.
Tick, tick, tick.
Hmm. Time for family?
Time for family.
Uh, Or maybe the time with family is up, because I see that it almost strikes 12. Yeah.
Yeah, turn into a pumpkin.
Yeah.
Tick, tick,
Hmm.
tick. Time. Time with family.
Mm-hmm.
Time
Or
with
time's up
family.
with family. It can go both ways. Maybe spend time with family this weekend.
So Mars is making an inconjunct with that Neptune Saturn conjunction. Actually, it's more like an inconjunct with Venus. So that's changing attitudes or making adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's time to make some family adjustments.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, and that's always like a good thing every once in a while, like depending on this personal situation. Yeah.
So I'm a Leo, and I don't have any family, but my dogs are my family.
Mm.
And we had an adjustment this week. They went to day camp yesterday. Did I tell you about that?
Oh yeah, yeah. Mhm. Mhm.
And when I picked them up, I was like, okay, did they embarrass me? We have them back, and they were cute. They were, and she hesitated, very vocal. So I'm like, I guess they were barking all day long. I don't know. They're not used to being at a day
Shut
camp.
up! Like, but you had mentioned that Leon, he seemed like he had a little pain or
And
something.
he was fine today. I
Okay.
think it must have just been a spasm or something
Well, I know that that breed does have like a hip
in knees.
situation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But today, he came up to me and took the same he does this kind of hug around your neck, and he was fine. And I
Mhm.
almost felt like he was letting me know that whatever it was is fine now, Mom.
Okay. Well, that's
That was the
good.
same position he was in last night when he let out this big yelp. So I don't know
Oh.
what that was about, but maybe a good night's rest. And of course, when they're at camp like that, they're running around a lot. They're getting a lot more exercise.
That could be like the hyper, like, oh wow, this is like brand new. And
Yes.
usually when Luna, she sees new people, she gets
Yes.
to the point where it's like,
Yes. Right.
and then she
Right.
can't breathe. I was like, girl, you need water. Like,
Right.
God damn, like, can you breathe? Like,
It's like overstimulation.
yeah, yeah. And then it's like you have to give her like a downer or a trank, just to calm her down. Like what the
I
heck?
told them, I said, if they get panting too much, just crate them and let them make them rest. They don't have sense enough to stop on their own. And
Yeah.
they protest, but they're better than running around and getting heat
Well, like I
stroke.
know that with Luna, if I cage her up, she'll be barking from the cage because she wants in on the excitement,
Yes,
and it's like, well, we don't have like visitors, and she
yes.
loves that, and I don't know. It's just, I think it's like the breed.
They were
Um.
so funny when I took them there and left. It was like, they take their leashes, and Leon came back around the counter and kind of looked up at me. And
Mm-hmm.
Mojo was in this girl's arms, just trying to like fly out of her arms towards me. And I was like, yeah, they're like Velcro. They don't like me dropping them off. And so
They're
then
like, "Mama's back!
I
Oh, let's go
know.
back!"
And so last night and today, when I have been sitting down, they're like right on me, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're
Mm-hmm.
they say that breed is very like companion dogs. They want to be with their person.
Right. I mean, Luna is the same way. Like, um, she she likes to be on me, sleeping on me, or claim like a foot or something, right?
Yes.
Um, but like right now, you don't hear her. She's cool. and it's because she knows that I'm in front of a computer, and she
Right.
knows that I'm not gonna give her the
You're
attention.
working. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the moment that I lay in the bed,
Yeah.
here she comes. She's like,
Yeah.
"Is it time yet? Like, is this it? Is this me and you time?"
And
And
isn't
I'm
that a
like,
great feeling? I love that feeling when, you know, they just want to come and let you know that
"They
their
want."
love is so genuine, right?
Well, it's so simple.
Right.
It's not like they're demand. Well, yes, they are demanding. I take that back, but
They're
they don't.
transparent about it.
Yeah, no, the talking is the barking, but they don't really bark at me, or she doesn't bark at me. It's more like, can we play? She's
Yeah.
very simple to
Yeah.
please, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I
So,
just love the feeling I get with them.
yeah, they're cozy
Hmm.
and they don't talk back, so
It's
it's nice.
silly. They can make me laugh.
Mhm, mhm. I know.
This place where I take them, it's shut down for the whole month of February to do renovations, and they've kind of been slowly opening up their services. And they built this huge building on their property, and they've really expanded. And it's owned by this one woman. She lives across the street from the facility, and they just seem genuinely engaged in their work. Like,
Mm. Well, that's good.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not too far away. I got onto them through a local TV station that sort of sponsors them, and every week they put like a dog's picture up on the, you know,
Mhm,
public
mhm.
interest story for the week or whatever. This week's dog, or whatever.
And it
So
comes
that's how I
from that
found out
place.
about them. Yeah.
Oh.
So they genuinely seem, because every animal has their own quirks and personality, and they genuinely seem committed to knowing all those quirks and individual things about their different tenants. But I couldn't believe this building. I mean, it was huge. It
Mhm.
was full. I mean,
Full?
yeah.
Well, I guess that's what TV does.
I guess for Memorial Day weekend too. Yeah.
Yeah, keeping them, like, so they can, enjoy themselves, but
I was like,
usually, it's like a time of, like, going out with family, and so I would think that they would take the dogs unless they were traveling,
yeah,
using
yeah.
the time to travel abroad. Mm.
I mean, I'd just been calling them on the phone to kind of keep updated with when they were going to start doing daycare or whatever. And they just kept saying, yeah, the building's being built and the fence is down. So we're not ready yet. And I kept hearing about this building being built. And the property they're on always seemed really small. And they must have acquired the lot next door or something, because I was like, this is great for them. I mean, I'm really happy to see, like, a local individual owner expand and do so well with her business. She's been around like 10 or 12 years.
Mm, yeah,
Can't
it's
be easy.
time.
Can't be easy running a dog boarding
No, you
thing.
would have to love
And they do
dogs.
grooming.
Mm. All herself, or I'm pretty sure she has help or something.
Yeah, I think there are three other people there. I'm not sure how many people total work there. Maybe they rotate in shifts. But when I checked in yesterday, there were three people checking dogs in and then one person doing grooming. So,
Oh, they sound busy.
yeah,
Mm. Well, that's good.
yeah, yeah. So they're funny dogs.
Mm.
So with Virgo and the new moon, I got requires stillness.
And I have fun times.
Oh,
Yeah, so I guess in order to have fun, just be still.
Does it look like they're looking up at the starry sky?
Well, I was thinking it looks like they're at a concert of
Oh,
some sort.
right.
hmm that could be what that means. Um, so what I'm feeling is like this could be like maybe chilling at home watching Netflix or just TV, being still. Maybe just enjoying music at home. Or maybe just going out and not moving around too much. I don't know. Hmm. The other thing is like, just being the observer, not being like an action taker, just kind of like watching.
So when Mars leaves Leo, it will be going into Virgo right around the 18th of June.
Mhm.
So that would bring more activity for Virgo.
Mm.
So maybe they're feeling a little mundane, and within a month or so, there'll be more activity.
Yeah, like they're having the itch to have some fun at least.
Yeah,
I'm in that boat.
yeah.
Like I really want to like do stuff, but it's hot here and yeah, it kind of puts a damper on the
I understand that.
Mhm.
That's why
Mhm.
today, I mean, it was really cool here, and I made myself like cut grass and do some stuff outside that I wouldn't want to do if it was really hot. I have groundhogs back. I
They
have
came
two.
back. I forgot what was the thing that deters groundhogs. Was it putting like a certain like herb in the thing or
Been reading about that, and it says Epsom salt.
Epsom
Uh,
salt?
yeah, get
They need their
coyote urine
coyote urine?
because
Okay, well, I can get
coyotes.
that for you. Like I'm in the right place.
And what else? Mothballs was another one.
Mothballs. Jeez, I haven't seen that in a while.
So coyotes prey on groundhogs, and we've had coyotes move through here.
Hmm.
So, remember I told you they'd kind of gone away, and I hadn't seen any for a long time. And
Mhm.
today there's like a big one and a medium one, and they just come out from under a shed and they'll sit right up there and just look around. And I haven't put my vegetables in the ground yet, and I am just like, you want you to put,
Motherfuckers.
I
Like,
know
no.
you're gonna put all this. They said, like sprinkle garlic around your plants or plant garlic, and that will deter them from. They don't like that smell.
Well, then just plant like
Yeah,
garlic around the edge of your garden.
I am.
You know what I mean? But they're groundhogs, so they're gonna come up probably in the middle, and then
I tell you what, I
you need a raised bed
yeah,
situation.
yeah, I don't know. I just tell you what, those things, they're cute as they can be, but they're obnoxious too.
Well, not if they're gonna be eating your freaking harvest, and like, where's the joy in
I
that? You didn't like plant it for them to eat.
know. It recommends like putting, like if you put a fence around, like you got to bury it like a foot into the ground. Otherwise, they
Hmm.
can like burrow under it.
Let me see. I'm like really curious to see what Chat GPT says.
So I called the wildlife department, and um, I tried kiddie pools one year, Linda.
Oh, you know what? They don't fucking help. You know what it says? Eliminate food sources. Harvest fruits and veggies as soon as they ripen.
Oh,
Keep
right,
produce cleaned up. Like what? Like come on. Like that
right,
thing won't last. Like
right.
and then clean clutter. Remove piles of wood, bush, and tall weeds that can provide shelter. Which you mentioned the shed.
Yes.
So use repellents, commercial repellents, ingredients like castor oil, ammonia, or garlic can deter groundhogs, and handmade detergents. A mix of crushed garlic, hot peppers, steeped in water, and sprayed around can help. That's actually a thing. Let's see. A predator urine, coyote or fox urine. Oh, it's available in garden stores. I didn't know that. Um, Underground fencing, which is what you're talking about, 3 foot high fence with the bottom 1 foot buried. That's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work.
Use traps with apples, cantaloupe, or lettuce. That would be a thing. But then it's like you can't let Leon or Mojo out because they like
Right.
apples and stuff, and they're
Yeah,
like, oh, oh, oh,
they
you
would
know.
throw. So when I called the wildlife department, Virginia does not trap and relocate. They'll
Mm,
trap and euthanize. And the guy told me, he says that it's actually less humane to relocate a wild animal. And he said, it'd be like if I took you out and relocated you to the middle of California and you didn't know where to find food or water. I'm like, that is ridiculous. Animals instinctually know where to go to get food and water. And
mm-hmm.
it seems like relocating them is much more humane, but
Well,
it's not.
where's the dam? Like, where's the closest dam?
Well, I'm a mile from the river, and there are dams along the river. And that was another thing I read about. Make sure you don't relocate them to somebody else's property. And but the wildlife guy said that you trap them, and then you can call exterminators who will come and euthanize them, and it's like $600. I think
Oh.
that's out of the
So
question. And then
basically, you better like to eat,
groundhog.
no, groundhog.
Yeah, there's people who actually eat groundhog too. Oh, that just sounds bad. And so
Well, the garlic and the hot pepper sounds like a thing as long as not killing other plants that you could be growing. You would
that
just have to be out there every day spraying your yard.
yeah, and I've had several people say, you know, just shoot them.
My
But
brother would love that.
well, what do you do with a dead body?
You bury it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know. I think I'm gonna just work on trying to protect the garden from them. You know, I might put some. It said put Epsom salts down, like at the entrance to their burrow, and it will deter them. So I might try something like that. I did cut a bunch of weeds down around the shed.
Mm. Is this shed something that you need,
Oh
or
yeah,
is that stuff in there?
it's a huge shed. Yeah. But before I realized they were able to get under it, I could have maybe tried to fence that bottom off had I realized critters were going to go under there, but I don't know. I did have an exterminator last year come, but she said the law prevents her from putting poison down for them, that she can't do it, but she left me rat poison to put in there, and I
Mm-hmm.
did, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, animals aren't stupid. If they smell something that doesn't smell right, they're not going to eat it. And unless they eat it, they're not going to be poisoned.
Well, so there was a thing like when I was in Washington, and my maintenance guy, he gave me some mouse traps, like because somebody was like being a hoarder in
Yeah.
their garage, and according to the law, like you can't force them to clean it. I don't know. It was something like that. And then she attracted like little rats or little mice. And so I found them under like it was the most disgusting thing, but I put those traps out and they got stuck to them.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Yeah, and then just tossed in the trash because I don't think they were alive when I found them. Um, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'd rather just deter them. I don't really want to kill them. They are cute
Um,
as they can be. They
but
really
yeah,
are.
that's why
I
I
mean,
think like the garlic pepper spray, you just buy
yeah,
the little container that attaches to the water hose and you just
yeah.
spray and probably mix it in with some you
It
probably have to
said
get
ammonia too, which I thought that was kind of weird.
well, they said castor oil, comma, ammonia, comma, or garlic. So you don't have to mix them all together. You
Yeah.
can just use one. Um, but the garlic, you can just, get garlic in bulk and just mince it and or maybe get garlic powder and just put the powder in. And even the hot peppers, they said steeped in water. So, I
Hmm.
mean, you can just steep it like tea, cool it down,
It said
put
something about um, bitter, like they're deterred from like bitter fluids. So if you put something down bitter at the entrance of wherever you see them going in, it might deter them.
I think coyote piss might be the best bet. Just fucking
Yeah,
spray the thing
because
down. Like,
this is what eats them. I mean,
yeah,
maybe that's why they disappeared for a while because we did have coyotes going through
around.
here. But did I tell you they're just so darn cute? They're
Yeah, you
really
tell
cute.
me. I didn't
And
say
they're not
kill.
afraid of you. I mean, they'll sit right there on cutting grass. They just sit up like this and they just look around. And I can get within 5 feet of them before they scurry away. It's the
Mm-hmm.
weirdest thing. I've lived here a long time, and it hasn't been until the last like 3 years.
Couple of years.
Yes. So I don't know what that's about.
Mm.
There's Tommy.
Yeah. Tommy, you hungry? That's the only time when he comes is hungry or he wants to be rubbed.
Well, we're on Libra.
Yeah.
Mend the relationship.
Oh, with a mature man. Hmm.
All right. That sounds like a father.
Yeah, father. Uh,
Of course, Libra is all about relationships anyway, right?
mm-hmm. But maybe it's with a mature person, and maybe what is that Red Cross?
Yeah.
Either the guy's Swiss or like maybe he's in the medical field. Medical field.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, he's got that grin on his face too, so
Yeah, he
well,
looks like,
maybe it's a good thing for Libra too. Um, or maybe the person was immature and
yeah.
they need to be more mature. I guess it's going to be different for everyone.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
Libra is all about relationships.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh, so Scorpio. I got the wild card.
Oh, I could barely read that. It says wild card.
Yes.
Oh, I have friendship.
All right.
So anything goes with a friend, right? Or a group of friends, looks like. Hmm.
I like that.
So that's actually good. There's positive vibes. Let's see, you have like one, two, three, four, five. Five friends.
Maybe some socializing coming out of the solitude for Scorpio.
Mm-hmm. That's actually nice.
I like that. I like the wild card on this deck.
I
Means
do
anything
too.
can go, anything can happen.
Anything.
Think
Doesn't
positive.
yeah, that's the thing I need to do. So next we have Sag. Tommy, move.
Oh, chances are there's an invitation for Sag.
With a mature man. I
Oh
picked
my
him.
gosh.
Chances with a mature man.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be a romantic interest. It could be a friend, I guess. Um,
I don't know. Mars trine Venus. That's pretty romantic.
yes. Well, yeah, there's the envelope.
Yeah, the heart
Yeah,
on.
this guy is wearing a blue shirt, so that's bonus points, Sag, if that
Yeah,
happens for you.
and don't hold his receding hairline against him.
Yeah.
You know, my brother used to call his receding hairline his
Uh,
solar sex panel.
why?
I don't know. He had a sick sense of humor.
Maybe because it was exposed and
Yes, right. Yeah, he was right here. And he was a Gemini with
hmm
a Scorpio moon, and his rising. What was his rising? I don't remember.
hmm
He was kind of a dark Gemini for sure.
Come to the dark side.
Yes, he was the dark side of Gemini for sure.
Well, all the Geminis that I know, they always have this quirky sense of humor, but then there's like this aloofness to them. And then
Yes,
it's like sometimes you can't really take them seriously. Like you don't know, like you want to, but it's
right.
like,
They can be fickle.
It kind of reminds me of my brother. So I wonder if my brother has some Gemini in him because he seems to be like that too. Um, anyway, I have here Cappy.
Got 50-50 for Cappy.
I can't believe this. Like, with a
Oh my
mature
gosh. I think
man.
there's some love in the air with the new moon and that trine between Mars and Venus.
Yeah, so 50-50 with this mature man. Maybe he's 50
Yes.
or 100.
Oh, God. He's a centurion.
Yeah, looking strong for 100, but yeah.
Interesting. That's very interesting. So that was Sag,
Mhm.
Scorpio, and
Mhm.
Capricorn.
Capricorn. Yeah. And 50-50
Interesting.
divided is 1
Yes.
mathematically.
Yes.
That's so weird. I
It
can't
is
believe I pulled
weird.
that man 3
I
times.
know.
Uh, so next we have here Aquarius.
Another air sign. So I've got fact of life. The birds and the bees. This is
Mhm.
another romantic overtone. And, you know, Pluto is trining the new moon.
Well, we have our communication, and I think Aquarius is good for that.
Yeah. Let's talk about the birds and the bees.
So some text messaging going on. Maybe some visuals. This girl looks like she's. Uh,
She's on her electronics.
She's wearing purple, so there's definitely like this higher sense of vibration element to her. Interesting.
It is
You
interesting.
know, there's a lot of birds out these days.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, a lot of chatter. And you said like the Gemini moon
Very
is
chatty. Yes.
very communicative.
So
Okay.
Pisces, I have seek a higher power.
Okay. Going up to a
Hi,
hole.
Alicia.
Oh, look at this. I have union.
Oh,
Mm.
Pisces.
If
We
you want
still have
union.
the North Node in Pisces, so it might be like a fated encounter.
Well, you were talking about a twin. You know, Gemini is symbolic of twin.
Yes, it is the
So,
twins.
seek the higher power for your union, Pisces.
Yes.
I can't help but to see like all the rings, right? Like at the top of that ladder, there's a hole, and I see here like two
Yeah,
circles joined together.
I like
So
it.
this like a spiritual time,
I
just
like
sit
it a
and
lot. Yes.
connect with your higher self.
Yes.
And I think that's it, right?
Yes, I think that's good.
Yeah, we went through all the signs. uh,
I love these cards. They're so quirky.
mhm. Mm.
So we'll
Okay.
play the full moon and Sag, I guess, by ear. Try to do an article before I leave, so at least we can have some insights on it.
Mm.
And I'll be in touch with you while I'm at the beach.
Okay, yeah, please do and send pictures so I can see what
I
it's like.
will.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen Myrtle Beach, so yeah, that's nice. I miss it.
Broccoli like broccoli.
Yes. Uh,
Lay like broccoli.
oh, hello. Um, hello, Alicia. What is a feminine or
Feminine, I think.
that's a Gemini? Hmm. Linda, my
You know,
Capricorn. Go ahead.
Gemini is somewhat asexual. They're like the nymph.
Hmm.
Is that the right word in mythology? Where
They go
the
both
eunuch,
ways.
the eunuch, the eunuch. They have no distinguishable sexuality.
Really? Is that
Eunuch,
the
Gemini.
eunuch? Isn't that
Yes,
like a church term for a certain ordained?
kind of monk. Yeah,
Yeah, right? You
yeah.
I
But
didn't know that.
they don't have like distinguished male or female genitalia.
Mm. But honestly, with most of the Geminis that I know, they kind of go both ways. It seems like a little
Right.
flamboyant and a little bit like,
They,
especially the male
yeah,
Geminis that I know of. Um,
they can be bisexual. Is very common.
mm-hmm.
They're very open. I think they seek intellectual knowledge.
Stimulation. But they also know all kinds of stuff, even the useless
Right.
facts. It's
Jack
like,
of
how
all
the heck do
trades,
you?
master of none.
Yeah.
I used to say about my brother. I had two brothers that were both Geminis. One was May 27th and one was June 8th. And they were 18 months apart in age. They
Mm.
were both deceased. They both died fairly young.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Growing up, one was very much of the black sheep. One was very much the court jester, the very animated, everybody's friend, jack of all trades kind of guy.
Mm.
The other one had a lot of heavy Scorpio, and he was much more hard drugs, a lot of loose sexuality. He he ended up with hepatitis C through heroin use, and in his mid 40s had liver failure and did get a liver transplant, but he ultimately died.
Oh, wow.
And then the other one took his own life. So Gemini, you know, that mentality, it can it can have some demons in it.
Hmm.
Man, I was too happy. Oh, thank you. I am going to the beach for the week of June 9th, and the dogs are going to camp. And did I say I was going to lay like broccoli?
Yeah, I heard that.
How many times have I said that? Everybody at work is like, what are you going to do? I'm going to lay like broccoli. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to decompress at the ocean's edge.
That sounds so good.
I'm looking forward
Oh,
to it. I haven't been to the beach in years.
me too. Well, not a proper one, not the one with sand, like beach sand. And,
Right.
most of the ones, like in Washington, they have like tree
Cliffs.
stumps and like rocks. Maybe there's a little man-made like sand shelf, but
Yes.
the water down below is like rocks. It's not like beach sand or anything.
Right.
It's really cold and it smells like fish in some places, so it's not like, yeah. But
Were
it's
you
beautiful.
where you were there um sea lions?
Not that I've seen. That I think that's further up north. Like up north you can go whale watching.
So
I
when
think
I
it's
was in I stayed in San Francisco for a little while, and my hotel was right at Fisherman's Wharf, and sea lions barked all night long. I'd never, I thought, and they were really odd. They're really odd animals. I mean, a lot of the restaurants around there were right on the water, and they would just like flop up on the deck, the docking areas, and they it's amazing how they move, that they can move at all, because they just sort of waddle and flop.
well, I think that the buoyancy and like how like they're in water, it kind of helps them to move around to be like that buoyant.
Right. I missed, there was someone in the chat that has, all I see is this time in the deck question mark, just curious, but I can't see the rest of it. Or maybe I can manipulate that. I don't know.
Let's see here. Does it correspond to the nervy, I guess the energy of last week?
No,
Last week it started with Leo and went to Libra. Where did it start this time in the deck? Is it nervy energy? Like nerves?
I
Mm.
think we're definitely in a nervy energy. Last week it started with Leo and went to Libra. I'm not sure what it is. Where did
Mm.
it start this time in the deck? I don't think I understand.
Um,
Wait a minute.
well, I mean, with the deck, it's not like really in order. Well, we're going in the order of the zodiac, but um, I think every sign is a little bit corresponds to the nervy. I don't know. I'm a little brain fried for that.
We're still in the eclipse period from the eclipses of March, so that also adds an element of intensity and weather patterns, the earthquakes, volcanoes. There have been um, wildfires Where did I see that? I was someplace where you don't ever see them.
I know that in Crete, they have those earthquakes, the like big ones, that they had like a tsunami warning.
Right,
They recognized it from under the water. It didn't travel to the land yet.
right.
So that was kind of weird how that is like going on. Um,
In Japan too, didn't they have some kind of event?
hmm
So a lot of like, I just equate it with all of these outer planets that move pretty slow, changing signs. There's five that have been changing signs over, a 6 month period. I equate that with like the Earth's
You know what?
platelets.
It's that the goddess Persephone, I think.
Oh yeah,
She's coming up. She's making her way up. Like, she's going
right,
through the
right,
cracks.
right, right,
Because it's that 6 month period, so it's time for her to come back.
right. To bring harvest.
Yeah. Uh, oh, let's see here. Haystack Rock at Cannon Beach. Yeah. Um, I didn't see any sea lions there. I saw those birds. I think they call them
Oh yeah, they're
puff
kind of neat.
birds or something. I don't remember. I was a murmur. I was a Murmur Beach at one time. It's a beautiful,
I
happy
think
vacation.
I think she
Oh,
meant Myrtle.
oh, okay. Southern Oregon has sea lion caves. Um, Myrtle. Oh, okay, I see it. The correction down there. Yeah, I miss Myrtle Beach.
So the last time I was there was probably in 1981.
That's a long time.
That's a long time ago. I dated a guy down there. I was in
Mm.
college and I had a 1969 Volkswagen Bug,
Oh.
and which was old when I had it, right? And
Mhm.
so, when you're young, you just nothing. You're fearless. I would head out with $50 in my pocket, and I would head out on a Friday, and it's a good 7 hour drive to the park that I went to, and spend the weekend with him, a couple of nights, and get back to be able to go to classes on Monday.
$50. Dang.
And
Did you
it would
sleep in
be
the
like
car?
digging for toll money to get through the last toll coming home.
That sounds like me going to Las Vegas, like going there, playing, coming back late. I was like the last one to come back to work.
Yeah,
I had enough money to pay my my parking ticket, and I had enough gas in my car to make it home.
right, right. I know. It's like now it's like I want to be prepared for everything, and back then it was just like a wing and a prayer. Yeah. I think a lot of that was hormonal. I can't.
I think
Isn't
when
it
you're
sad?
young,
I can't remember his name. I can see him as clear as a bell, and I had a thing for him for a while. Can't remember his name.
well, when you're on the beach, just stick your finger in the sand and see what comes out.
Yeah,
Like, the name.
I think
Like, is it
think
Nick?
it's.
No.
Yeah,
Nate?
I,
Mike?
I want to say it was Barry, but
Barry?
I'm not sure. And I think that the end of that came with one of my trips down there, and like I found evidence of a woman, you know.
Mm.
He was not loyal to me, but then I lived in another town in another place. But yeah, Yeah, it was crazy to do that because my car was old and probably shouldn't have been on the road like that. And I don't know.
Well, when you're
I just
young.
didn't think about it. It was like, got to get to the man, got to get to the guy.
Mhm. It's kind of nostalgic to drive to Myrtle, um, because I always cross like south of the border, and there you can, like, for me, it was me and a particular guy who could have been like the twin flame, right? Like he thinks he's
Yes.
my twin, but we had a beautiful like moments. Like we went to this it was like House of Hats. They had hundreds of hats,
Wow.
and I
That
got me
sounds
a
fun.
cow, yeah, like a cowgirl hat, and he had like this old like T-top like car. I don't even know what kind of car he had, and we were just driving in the summer heat, and we were in our 20s, and you know, at 20, driving and listening to music,
Yes.
like, just feeling young and free.
Yes.
That was like the time, like to just like do that sort of a thing. And I remember at the beach, it was like a warm summer night, it goes out like that, and the moon was full. It was like it was so close to the ocean, and it was almost kind of romantic. We were both in the ocean, and the temperature was perfect,
Yes.
and it was the first time my family met him, and it was the first time he's ever been to a beach. And so there was like a lot of like nostalgia with
Yeah.
that.
Do
So
you remember a place like at the border of North Carolina and South Carolina called Calabash?
yeah, Calabash. Well, there's plenty of places called Calabash.
Well, this
So
is right at the border. It's supposed to be like the best seafood,
at the border,
right from North Carolina to South Carolina.
all I remember is all the Calabash places in Myrtle Beach, but it's North Myrtle Beach.
Yes.
Um, so there's this giant king crab. At the entrance is like this crab. And that's the one that we normally go to, is the king crab place.
Yeah.
And then there's
Oh, did you freeze?
a boat. Um, can you see me? Or
Yeah,
because
you're
I keep
good.
going
Yeah.
out a little bit. But there's like another one. I don't remember the name of it, but that's like another one. But you want to go to the Calabash early and not late, because if you're into like the seafood, it's cooked fresh. And
Right.
so if
That's
you
what I heard.
wait, um, yeah. Can you guys see me? Am I still like going?
Yes, you're good.
Oh,
You're all
okay.
good.
Yeah, so like if you go early, then you'll get like the best selection. If you wait like later in the evening to get like leftovers and stuff, then you'll get the salty food. So it really depends, your
That's
preference.
all I care about is
Calabash.
well, the sand and the water and good seafood. That's all I care
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, I miss it. Like, well, I'm vegetarian now, so I don't eat the seafood, but when I was eating it, my thing was the crab cakes, and the crab legs, the snow crab
I love
legs.
crab legs. Have you ever watched that series? Something Great Catch, or it's the reality show of the fishermen in the Alaskan waters fishing the
Never
king
seen
crabs.
that. Mm-mm.
I mean, it's really dangerous. People die fishing for those crabs.
Mm.
It's amazing.
I
The
think
Barren
what they
Sea.
do is, I don't know, do they throw the net, or do they like leave crates
They
down
set
there?
wire pots, like they're big cages on
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
string, and they drop them and then circle back and pull them in. And the Great Catch, that's not the full name. But it was a series that would follow like 5 or 6 ships and their captains and crew. And I mean, the Barents Sea is like, I mean, massive waves and rough water and cold Arctic, cold.
Mhm,
But
mhm.
it gave me a whole nother appreciation for what it takes to bring that king crab to
Crab.
your table. Yeah, it's amazing.
Well, have you ever like went crabbing?
A really, yeah, the biggest catch, right? Something about the catch.
The catch.
Anyway, yes, a long, long time ago.
Oh,
Long
okay.
time ago, yeah. You'd sit around and pick crabs.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like because that was when I was living in North Carolina, and when it was low tide, we would go out to like Jacksonville Beach, or oh, I think yeah, Jacksonville Beach, and then they would have like a low tide, and
Wow.
then we would get chicken legs and tie it to like a string,
Yes. Oh, there you go.
we would fish for the crabs
With
and
chicken
with the
legs.
chicken legs, and you could see it through the water, and
Yeah.
then
Come and
once
grab
they
it.
come closer, then you scoop them up with your net, and it was like the funnest thing, you know?
Yeah.
Um, my mama ate those crabs. I don't, because 'cause they're like greenback crabs or blue
Blue
crabs. I
blue
think
crabs.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't remember what I think it's blue crabs. But yeah, it was fun. Anyway, that's my crab story.
I love crab.
Yeah, it's been a while. I don't eat crabs anymore, but I remember what it tastes like and it's delicious.
I
Yeah.
had flounder last night that was delicious.
Oh, that sounds good.
It was
Well,
very good. It was really very good. Um, so yeah. So when we get together, I will have been coming back from the beach.
yeah, well, share the story when you get back.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. Um,
mm,
when you're anticipating something that you're looking forward to, it just seems like, you know, whenever get here, I guess I've got like 2 weeks before I go. I'm ready to go now.
well, yeah, I mean it's soon, so
You know, I haven't, I can't remember. I haven't driven a long trip like that in a long time either.
you said it's 5 hours for you.
Uh, it's 6, easy.
I was just thinking about old times.
So, I bought a used car and
Mm.
90 days of Sirius radio came with it. Do you have a
Mm.
Sirius radio?
No, I don't, but I had it when it was free.
Right. And so I keep getting these things about your subscription ends June 1 and are you going to renew and please renew? And it's like, I really don't want to pay for a subscription, but
Mm.
I've really enjoyed it. And I was thinking, well, maybe I'll renew to get through my trip, because you'll be going to all these different places and lose reception. At least that would be one way about keeping music going.
Mhm, mhm. Well, if you're using it and you're enjoying it, then yeah, why not?
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know.
So many
Or
different. Well, a couple of my friends have been talking about how they really like mess up your charge card because they can't get it without giving them a charge card, and they'll like blast your charge card with some ridiculous
fees.
fee, and then you have to wait to get refunded, and that it
Mm.
just
Well, I
so
mean, like, do you have a hookup, like a Wi-Fi to your car? Does it have like a any kind of tech package, or do you have to hook it up with a wire and then
Yes,
play?
right. I would have. It does not come with it. It was not
Mm.
that package did not come with
Well,
it.
then just like it's really cheap. Just buy the audio jack that you can hook into your car, and then that way you just keep it charged. And I think there's a way that you can play through the radio if you have the jack inside.
Right.
If you have the a thing in it. If you don't, then that's an issue.
You know what I was thinking about doing before I had this Sirius radio and wasn't using it at all till like a month, and then I because it wouldn't work. I would turn it on and it would just be one solicitation after another. So I called them and they needed to like activate it. So then when it got activated and I started listening to it, I was like, this is really kind of cool. You can almost hear anything you can imagine. But before that, I thought, well, I'm going to go to the library and get some audio books. I love driving down the road and having somebody read to me.
Yeah, yeah. Just as long as you don't
I
drive
love
off the
that.
road.
The library, that's free, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't get a chance to read casually like that normally. So I'll make a decision here.
Yeah, just see what your car is capable of doing, you
It
know.
does have a bunch of jacks and USB ports and
Mm-hmm. Well, the USB, you can hook up just to charge your phone, but for audio, you need where is it? I don't have one here with me. It's just like a little thing that you poke in, and a
yeah,
small one, not a big one. There's a small one, and
yeah,
then you can have that going into from your cell phone.
I do have that. Yeah,
Yeah, that's all
yeah,
you need, and then you can control it that way.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's all good. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
Yeah. I hope the weather cooperates.
Have you looked far into it to see what the
I have not.
weather is?
I have not.
Okay. Well,
But even a rainy day at the beach is a good day.
you're right about that. Cause sometimes it rains, but it doesn't rain all the time.
Right.
Cause I've been to the beach on rainy days,
Yeah.
um, but it's nice too. So,
Yeah. It's just time away to decompress and have a different atmosphere and um, just decompress.
mm,
Yeah.
well, I'm gonna be right there. I'm gonna live vicariously through you for a hot
Yes.
minute.
Yes. I'm excited. I'm
mm,
excited to go and come back and reconvene, and we'll talk about the Sagittarius full moon next time.
okay. Yeah, sounds good.
All right. Well, I'm going to go see what my puppy dogs are up to and maybe get outside a little bit.
Yeah, I gotta fix dinner now.
Yeah, it's dinner time for you. I'm past dinner.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll see you next time.
Yes, and thank everybody. I appreciate everything and keep it between the lines.
Yes, thank you. Thank
All
you for
right.
being here with us. All right. Bye
Bye.
bye.